going on? Hey y'all, how you doing tonight? Just got home, finished eating dinner, and we've been wanting to make this video. I'm gonna jump on the chat here real quick. We've been wanting to make this video, and things have been very busy. So, got home tonight, and I said to TM, I said, "You want to do a live?" And she said, "Sure." So, all the wee ones are being excellent. So, we just figured we'd do this. Hey, Wee Tree, how you doing?
They're making chocolate shakes.
Oh, they're making chocolate shakes. Well, there you go.
I hope they bring me in one.
Hopefully, Alicia McNamara, how are you doing this evening? We'll get started in about 4 minutes, and we've been getting questions about this whole Second Amendment thing, and I get a lot of assault weapon questions, so just figured I'd talk about it. It says Q and Q. That's really awesome. It's supposed to say Q and A. Oh well.
No answers here, folks. No
Q
answers.
Questions
here.
that lead to more questions. Q and Q. Get your Qs. Get more Qs from your Qs.
If you think you got questions now, just wait. You're gonna have lots more questions.
We were saying, yeah, we were going to do this at the kitchen table, and Mommy said, if we do it here at the kitchen table, I might have a baby tonight. So.
Yeah, I can't sit at that kitchen table too long. I'm like, I have to go sit in my bed or somewhere comfortable.
Yes, Lord willing, we're going to do a home birth. That is the plan. Now, no plan survives first contact, but hopefully this plan survives first contact. So that is our hope and prayer. That's and right. Goal.
We don't make any assumptions.
And we assume nothing.
That's right. But.
So, yeah, that's the plan anyway. We'll see how that goes.
Yep. We got to do a video and all that. But we had our this will be our third one at home.
Yeah, Oh, so you just heard Texas Mom. She wants to do a live video when she's giving birth. So,
oh no, that would scare all of you. You know all the beautiful home birth videos that you watch on YouTube?
Yeah, this ain't one of them.
Of all of that. So.
It's very scary, and
but I still prefer home birth.
Yep, we're using the same midwife. This will be the third time's the charm.
Yep, she knows us.
She's wonderful.
She's very laid back and sweet.
Joshua Fusen. And we'll be real. I'm going to keep my eyes peeled on the chat because the gov bots will probably be on. So I'm going to be...
Oh, because we're talking
about the verboten topic.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think people keep asking because it's one of our reasons for moving.
Correct. And in light of the recent Santa Fe shooting or whatever it was with a shotgun and a handgun and all that stuff. Yeah. Now our governor, the topic is the Second Amendment.
If you don't like the Second Amendment.
Eber Tehran, if you don't like the Second Amendment, please stop watching now and unsubscribe from our channel and move to Liberia. No. Thank you, Wee Tree. Yeah, I need some backup because I'm sure. Just when you talk about currency, man, it was crazy. It was wild what happened, but and all I'm talking about is currency. Like that's news to everybody that they've been printing money. How's our audio? Are we good? Do we have to?
Everybody can hear us good.
Birdie Indadell. Good evening.
Hey,
the Vromans are on.
She likes the Second Amendment. Y'all need to get down here. What are you
Everybody doing? That loves life loves the Second Amendment. Yeah, exactly. Perfect audio. Wow. And I did my Do Not Disturb deal on the old phony here, so hopefully that shouldn't be the culprit this time.
Oh, good. Josh and Mandy.
Hola. And Mandy. Hola, mi amigos. Como allez-vous, s'il vous plaît? Nein, bitte. Kleine, danke, bitteschön.
That's all.
Eine kleine Schmetterling.
That's all he's got. That's all of the foreign language he knows. All
There you go.
wrapped up
5
in
years
one.
of German right there. Boom. Why didn't I take Spanish?
I know.
AI is now a normal in the chats. Yes. Yep, they just do a logarithmic scan of what is going down. Yeah, multilingual. That is me. DF Commando. Good evening. S'il vous plaît. Si. No. Is that how you spell s'il vous plaît? For real? It's definitely phonetically spelled, but I'm not a French person.
We have very, very good friends.
We have Canucker friends that are very good Quebecers. Well, they're originally, one of them's from Quebec. Don't you know, eh?
She is. And they love the Second Amendment, too.
And they love the Second Amendment. And
they don't live in Quebec anymore.
And they don't live in Quebec. They live in Indiana.
Yeah.
That's home. What's the name of their channel? They have a channel. Heritage Homesteaders.
Yes.
That's our beautiful, wonderful friends in Indiana. Heritage Homesteaders.
Yes.
Yes, s'il vous plaît.
And that is Goob's.
Comment allez-vous?
One of Goob's
That's Trigger.
close
and
friends.
Goob and Trigger did another podcast, so they're gonna be posting that.
He didn't post that yet.
No, Goob's
After him.
Goob's been slacking, man.
Poor kid.
But he does a lot.
I've been keeping him very busy here. I've been like nesting like crazy, which it means that everybody is nesting like crazy.
Everybody nests with Texas Mom.
Whether they choose to or not.
Well, Amanda is always glad that you are hydrating, Texas Mom.
Oh, thank you.
And I would love to hydrate right now. I'm dehydrated. And it's supposed to rain.
Want some water?
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, Texas Mom. It's supposed to rain, and it keeps saying every day that it's going to rain. If you don't want a gun, move to Canada. I completely agree. Samantha Bablula. Babula. Lol. Something. Sorry about that. I just destroyed your name.
Babaloo? No.
Babula. Lol. Babulalo. Maybe. All right.
He's multilingual.
Yes, as you can see, it rolls off the
illiterate.
tongue. So, Babolal. Oh, that's easy. Babolal.
We have friends
There you
in
go.
Canada, and they love their guns. Do they have to hide them? No, they probably, they probably hunt so much up there that they're
Yes,
probably
the gun laws are more strict in Canada than they are in America, maybe. Do I speak Pig Latin? I used to.
Oh my.
I have to take a Pig Latin class though. And I'm not even going to attempt because my brain, it's been long hot days down here.
Yeah.
Recently, so.
I know we already went over 100 degrees down here.
Oh yeah. There you go. Somebody's busting out the Ig Pay Attenlay. Wildflower Valley Farm. Thank you. Good evening.
All right.
So
Alicia's ready. She says
let's get started. All right. So we've had some questions. We are historical Baptists, and from Trinidad and Tobago. No guns allowed here. Yeah. And we understand this is what the topic's really all about. I really wanted to approach the topic strictly from a self-defense standpoint because the verbiage that's always used with the questions we get asked, we have a really good friend of the channel, and he's always talking to me about it, and he keeps using the term assault weapon, which is, it's all about, one, controlling the vocabulary, and they put the word assault with everything to make it bad or the boogeyman. And there's no such thing as an assault rifle. I mean, there are guns and there are, a knife. If you assaulted somebody with a knife, would that make it an assault knife? And, So that is just part of the discussion if we are going to, um, yes, all weapons can be used for assault. Cain killed Abel with a rock, and guns, it's cliche now, guns don't kill people, people kill people. And yeah, you could kill somebody with a fork, a rock, a bat, your bare hands. Um, so that is really what we wanted to talk about. And yes, and Weetree posted the Second Amendment, a rel, yeah.
I'll read it. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed.
And this is
Thank you, Weetree.
This is a direct reference to protection of we the people from a tyrannical state. Mm-hmm. And and for the sake of the conversation, I completely agree with that. I completely believe that. And that is what the Second Amendment is for. The kind of questions we get asked are more in line with
should a Christian?
Yeah, should a Christian no, the question they're really asking is should a Christian defend themselves and their family?
Right.
But they pose it as, should you go to war? And see, here's the thing. The Second Amendment has nothing to do with killing brown people in Iraq. The Second Amendment has everything to do with protecting your life, protecting your liberty, and protecting your property. And part of that is when a tyrannical government usurps its God-given authority, okay, because all authority is given by God. And when they usurp their God-given authority, Romans 13 explains that their authority is given to them for good, right? To judge evil. But when they usurp their authority and go outside of their jurisdiction of what they've been given to use the power that they have for evil and to control people, that is when they are an invalid, de facto, tyrannical, technocratic oligarchy. We have a technocratic oligarchy, completely illegal. Our government violates every constitutional law, like every second, and we really don't even quite really understand what freedom. It's still the greatest country in the world. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying move to Mexico or anything like that. It's still the greatest country in the world, and I believe that is how powerful. Don Quixote, where you been? Good to have you on. Hey, Jamie Manning. Yeah, and it's just like the Ten Commandments, right? Why did God? Okay, there was only 10 commandments. Why were they written on 2 tables, right? Because there was the laws for God to man, and then there were the laws from man to fellow man, right? And that's why there were 2 tables of the law. And you cannot legislate morality. You cannot legislate the 2 tables. And the government, that's why I don't, personally, like even prohibition and suffrage and all that stuff. Chicka-woof, how you doing? Rico's working, but he's listening. All right. Good to have you on, guys. So let's see. We'll start from the biblical position. Okay. Now, when Jesus first sent his disciples out, he said, look, don't take anything with you. Don't take purse, don't take script, don't take, he said everything. He's like, look, your provision's going to be met by your service and by your spreading of the gospel. So don't take anything, right? And then he brought his disciples back together. He said, now look, my time has come. I must be delivered up. So now, if you have a coat, sell it and get a sword, right? Now, why did he say that? Okay. Why did Jesus tell people to get a sword? You know, it's this Willie Nelson, Maitreya, long hair hippie Jesus, this God loves everybody and Jesus loves everybody and kumbaya. You know, the wrath of the Lamb is coming and you need to repent and believe the gospel. The wrath of the Lamb. God is not schizophrenic. The same God of the Old Testament is the God of the New Testament. And we know what God did in the Old Testament. And Jesus is going to do the same thing in the New Testament. That's why Jesus braided a whip and drove the money changers out of the temple. He wasn't like, come here, I just want to give you a hug, and I just want to love you, and I'm going to just love you and hug you till you get saved. No, he drove them out of the temple with a whip, and he flipped the tables over, and he wasn't some hippie, long-haired, peace-loving dude, you know? And so what he told his disciples, he said, look, things are going to change here now. Before I told you to not take anything, don't take any provision. Now I'm saying, now when you go out, you take your purse, you take your script. If you don't have a sword, you sell your cloak, okay? That was the most important essential garment for those that were traveling because your cloak basically became like your tent. I mean, these people walked everywhere and you would have to crash on the side of the road many, many times, and your cloak was quintessential to your survival. And Jesus said, if you don't have a sword, buy one, right?
Now,
and
was
then
the sword illegal too?
yes, under Roman, under Roman government, now the Romans worked with the Sadducees and Pharisees and gave them some there was some play there, but under Roman government and the Jews were subject to the Romans, a weapon of war, see if this doesn't sound familiar, a weapon of war was illegal. Okay? So not only was this sword that Jesus told them to buy, not only was it illegal, they purchased it on the black market. They couldn't go down to their local Centurion depot and buy a sword. And that's why you see it in the Old Testament, it talks about that there wasn't a blacksmith in the land. And the cases, what in the world? Where y'all been? I started talking about guns and Howard Cases on there.
Well, they're in Indiana.
They're in Indiana. Man, all you need is that Indiana concealed carry permit is hilarious. It's literally like a photocopied piece of paper. I love it, man. It was great. But the Philistines, when the Philistines wanted to keep the Jews in check, they got rid of all the blacksmiths, right? And there was no blacksmiths. Why? Because the blacksmiths made the weapons of war. And right, Wheatree says having a weapon is the difference between a master and a slave. And see, the thing about the amendments, the constitutional amendments, is one begets the other. If we do not have a Second Amendment, we will cease to have a First Amendment. And our Second Amendment ensures the right of our First Amendment. And if we don't have free speech, I mean, look, okay, I'll give you a perfect example. England. And this is what they will do here. The police officers in England do not have firearms. Why? Because it logically makes sense. This is the part that I don't understand about the technocratic oligarchy, socialist, fascist construct we have in America. And those are ideologically opposing view structures. But, it's okay for the blue people to have guns. It's okay for our military to have guns as long as they're over there blowing up brown people, right? But if our military people come back here and they want to have a gun, oh, well, now they have PTSD. Now they're mentally unstable. So our military that goes overseas and gets irradiated and gets limbs blown off and comes back shattered into 1 billion peoples for the sake of opium and oil, right? They're totally proficient and great and highly qualified, to have an assault rifle over there. As long as it's over there and as long as they're killing brown people, right? It's totally cool. So that way it happens over there so it doesn't happen over here and all that stuff. That's totally cool. But if they try to come back here and say, well, now I'm John Q. Citizen. I am just like everybody else. I am we the people. Well, you can't have a gun here now with all the training and everything. And they're going to do the same thing to the police. And any police officer, and that's why our court system is the just us system. There is no justice anymore. It's just us. Well, you can't have it, but we can. Because they know if we have it and you don't, we rule. And, every socialist dictatorship took the guns first, right? And then they took all the freedoms right behind it. Hitler took the guns, Mao took the guns, Stalin took the guns, and I'm not going to break out into my Alex Jones, Pierce Morgan montage because Texas mom said she wasn't in the mood for it. And I just wanted, Mao took the guns, Stalin took the guns. You ain't taking the guns, Pierce.
There you go.
There you go.
There
Fluoride man suicide pills.
So we were talking about Christians in relation to this, how we give an answer for where we stand.
Yes, and the one reason why I wanted to do this, we'll see what Abbott does, but do not be surprised because of this Santa Fe thing. They're already talking about greater restrictions, background check, shall not be infringed means that in no way, a background check is unconstitutional, period. On its face, at the base, period. Shall not be infringed. Bump stock, fully auto, 50-round magazine, 100-round magazine, e-gun, belt-fed. Why can our military have e-gun, belt-fed, however many thousand rounds a second? Why? I mean, it's super cool for killing brown people, right? But I can't have one to defend my home. And that makes no sense because the bad guys in Chicago that kill each other every day in one of the strictest gun-free whatever, they have guns. Why? You can do whatever you want with gun laws. Bad guys are going to have guns. And it only makes sense. See, and here's what's crazy. Statistically, if you look at the real statistics, crime has dropped. This country is rocketing to hell in a handbasket that's doused in gasoline and lit on fire. Okay? We are not getting bigger, stronger, faster. We're not making America great again or anything like that. Our country is going down the tubes, but yet violent crime has dropped statistically over the last 10 years, and it's in direct proportion to private gun ownership. It's in direct proportion to conceal carry permits, right? Why? Because if you're in a gun-free zone and you bring a gun, okay, you're breaking 65,000 laws, so more gun laws isn't going to stop you because it didn't stop you. All you're doing is making everybody else a sitting target. Anybody that wouldn't have a gun in their home, multiple guns in their home, is asking for someone to break in and hurt them. HOA. Oh.
If gun laws work, there would be no shootings in Chicago, right?
Yeah. Gun laws don't work. Background checks don't work because the whole purpose of gun regulation is to take the guns out of the hand of the people. And first they'll take the guns out of the hand of the people. They'll still all have their armed bodyguards, right? And they'll still all have their weapons. And they'll still have their homes fully stocked with weapons and food and everything else. But they'll take the guns out of the hand of the common guy. Look, I have no interest, right, in building a defense to fight our military, right? You know what? I want to protect my family. I want to protect my wife and children. I want to protect our property. I want to protect our infrastructure here. I want to protect our animals. I want to protect our stuff, and I want to be left alone. And if somebody comes here looking for something, looking for a problem, obviously I want to diffuse the threat, but if I have to, you end the threat. And that is how you protect your family because, I mean, we've had something happen here, and it woke up Texas mom. And you realize the necessity of being able to defend yourself. Certainly every woman should have a gun. Women are the weaker vessel, okay? And you can know hand to hand, jujitsu, and all this stuff. I can reach out and touch you 100 feet away with a gun. You don't have to get anywhere near me. Hey, that doesn't even mean I'll kill you. That means I'll hurt you, I'll maim you, I'll damage you, and you'll run away. And that is the whole purpose of self-defense. It's, it, all of this is driven by Hollywood. This is all driven by Hollywood. They do all these, and that's why all these false flags work so well in their fake dialogue, is because people watch so much Hollywood, they think some dude can go like 10 stories up in the Mandalay Bay and use a bump stock and slaughter people, right? When a bump stock is the most inaccurate device in the world, right? And it is so incredibly impossible. It is so difficult to kill somebody. But all these useful idiots and all these Hollywood worshipers, man, they worship Matt Damon. They worship Tom Cruise. They worship all these fruits and flakes. And these guys stuff their pockets and make hundreds of millions of dollars. And all these movie producers, right? And they shoot all their guns and they shed all this blood and they pervert the minds of the next generation and the current generation. And they pervert their minds so much that people think that some 56-year-old dude all by himself can literally like carry like 47 guns into some super crazy high security casino and then slaughter and shoot hundreds of people by himself with a bump stock. It is the most impossible. It's the most impossible scenario ever. Yet it's all like, oh yeah, it happened.
Well, I mean, they're hypocrites because they make Hollywood, they make all their money off of these movies and this violence. And it's the same with the video game industry. And then we're raising up children in this numbing,
Yeah.
moralless environment. And then the kids don't have any moral code at all. And then
Yeah.
when something happens and one of these children decide to do something crazy, it's because they watched all this Hollywood or they video games
Yep.
and
Call of Duty, all these first person shooter games, right? And where's the legislation on that? You want to legislate? Don't be checking Mark McGuire for steroids, right? Why don't you legislate away this multi-billion dollar video game industry that's just like the movie industry? It's totally complete. It's totally comprised of blood, sweat, guns, and bullets.
horrible.
And it's hideous and it's
Horrible.
terrible. But it's a useful tool. That's why our military has a movie arm, and it's right on their website. And that's why they're consultants in all these movies, because it's the programming. They are programming
They're
us,
totally desensitized, and there's
desensitizing, and they're programming us for false flags. And real people die in false flags. I'm not, dude. I mean, we'll spend hundreds of millions of dollars to kill tens of thousands of brown people. You don't think they'd kill a couple 3,000 Americans, in the World Trade Centers and all that stuff? That was the government, man. It was the government. And
and then as soon as something happens, it's the Hollywood superstars that step up and say,
got to take the guns.
"Oh, this is a
This
shame.
is so terrible.
This is the guns." Well,
Yeah, your
look
kids
at the
just
movies
your
just
kids
put
just
out.
watched my movie 55,000 times, made me a multi-billionaire, and all I
horrible.
did was shoot like 10 trillion rounds of ammo and all this blood splattered everywhere, but we need to take your guns.
Right.
And it's just total hypocrisy.
Yeah.
It's total hypocrisy, and we're just being bombarded with propaganda.
Yeah. So let's get back to the.
Okay. So I'm really glad Wilson is on tonight because Wilson's been asking me a lot of questions.
Okay.
And this is my point. Because my point is, there is a much larger point with the Second Amendment about not infringing the right of the people to keep and bear arms. That is not for, it is for self-defense, but it's predominantly for self-defense against a tyrannical government like the Redcoats, like our founding fathers that fought for our freedoms. Who did they fight? Who did our founding fathers fight for our freedom? They fought the governmental infrastructure that was in place. And the majority of people that hold this assault weapon, gunless position, and we need to save the world from guns, they do it from the safety of America. They do it from the safety of their home when their neighbor has guns. And the reason their neighborhood is as safe as it is because their neighbor has guns. And any American with common sense would have a gun, not only have a gun, be able to operate it safely and be proficient with it. Because a tool, you might as well have a paperweight if you don't know what you're doing with it. And you're probably going to hurt somebody and you're probably going to hurt yourself. And I mean, look, I know police officers, and I knew Yellow Jacket PD in Baltimore, and these were specialist guys shooting themselves in the hand, in the leg, at the shooting range. So cops aren't susceptible to stupidity either. But
it's okay. You just need to focus.
Okay,
on what
yeah, I need
doing.
to focus on what I'm saying.
I'll tell you.
Okay, tell me if I need to answer anything.
I'll tell
But
you.
okay, so self-defense and defending your family. The Bible says that if you provide not for your family, you're worse than an infidel. The greatest proponent of provision is self-defense. If I cannot defend my wife and children, if I cannot defend their life, what is the point of providing housing, clothing, food? If they're dead, what do I have to provide? Nothing. And that's the thing about the 10 Commandments. Thou shalt not kill. What does that mean? See, everything in the Bible is case law. And so it just like it says in the New Testament, them that stole, let them steal no more, working with their hands, right? That they may be able to give, right? It's the same thing with thou shalt not kill. What does thou shalt not kill mean? That's written in the negative. It means thou shalt preserve life. Because if you do not preserve life, life has no meaning. So you have to preserve life. The Old Testament talks about the damsel, right, that is raped in the field. And when she crieth out, right, the damsel and the man that commit fornication in the city, they're both put to death, right? But the damsel that's in the field, she's taken by the man, she cries out, but nobody is there to save her. What does that say? What does that imply? That whoever is there has a biblical responsibility to protect that woman. And that is not only self-defense, not only defense of your family, but defense of life. Defense of life in general. Defense of your animals, what you have husbandry over. Your neighbor's animals. You're responsible for that. It is your responsibility. And, we could get into a very long discussion on this with the usurpation of many authorities, even local authorities. And look, we have good law enforcement here in Texas. They have peacekeepers, which nobody, we have totally forgotten that people that work for the public are public servants. They work for us. We pay the taxes that pay their salaries, and they are responsible to keep the peace. They're not responsible to write you a speeding ticket and make sure you have your seatbelt on in your privately owned vehicle, while motorcyclists don't even have to wear a helmet. Hello? I mean, there's no more common sense in America. When you have some crazy Nazi cop that's going to pull you over for no constitutional reason and say you weren't wearing a seatbelt, and a dude drives by on a motorcycle with no helmet on. I don't think there is any motorcycle that A, has a seatbelt, A, and B, he doesn't have a helmet on. And this is where we are at in America. Logic, common sense, gone. And so they want to take the guns. Look, if you think that people shouldn't have guns, you shouldn't lock your front door, right? Non-resistance, right? Why would you resist a burglar? If they're going to come in your house, then they're just going to come in your house and steal all your stuff and kill your wife and kids. Anybody that thinks that God wants a crackhead, all that crackhead wants to do is come steal your property and convert it into fiat currency to buy crack. And if you want to sacrifice your family for some crackhead, then I hope that your family packs up and moves somewhere safe. Because I would want, if I was not willing to defend and protect my wife and children, I would want them to pack up and move somewhere safe where they're protected. And guess what? We packed up as a family and moved somewhere safe, because where we were was the epitome of technocratic oligarchy. And if you had a gun where we were, you're stinking going to jail, and you don't have to shoot anybody because guns are spooky, guns are bad, the assault weapons ban. Yeah, how good did that assault weapons ban work? It did nothing but take guns from normal people. And then Fast and Furious. So take all the guns away, but then the CIA can sell the guns to South American drug lords for billions of dollars, and then those guns are used to shoot American citizens. Those are the people that you think qualify, and then kids that are eating Tide Pods, right? They're eating Tide Pods and our technocratic oligarchy kangaroo court monkey machine is literally holding sessions on the taxpayer dime to talk about making Tide Pods less accessible. Then these same shaved head lesbo retards, paid disinfo agents, are yakking on the idiot box about how they need to take everybody's guns away. And literally 68 hours ago, they were eating Tide Pods. And that's where we're at. And that's why that's why we're cooked. That's why we're done. And
somebody was saying that there's a difference between killing and murder. He was going back to your
yes,
commandments.
And Jesus clarified that in the New Testament. And Jesus said, "Thou shalt commit no murder." So the Bible always defines itself. And Jesus stated that "thou shalt not kill" was a direct commandment to not commit murder. Hey, if it talks about the thief, right, that breaks in the night, right, and it says you can kill him. That's what it says, right? It says you can kill him, and if he doesn't make it till the morning, because when somebody's breaking into your house at night, you have every right to assume that they're armed. You have every right to assume that they're there for no good. I mean, who's going to break in your... Oh, I was just breaking your house. Say hi. I just wanted to introduce myself. I was just stopped by to say hi, and and break in your house in the middle of the night. You know what I mean? So you assume they're armed, you end the threat, you protect your family. Anybody that's breaking your house in the middle of the night, they have zero good intentions. You have every right to eliminate them. And okay, the Sermon on the Mount. Let's talk about turn the other cheek. Okay, it says, if a man smite thee on the right cheek, says to turn the other cheek. Let's read, if we read that in context, right? First off, what hand would you smite somebody on the right cheek with? Right? You would smite them on the right cheek with your left hand. Which is the dominant hand? Which hand would you do damage with? Your right hand. Most people are right-handed. Why are you slapping somebody on the cheek with your left hand? Because it's a direct sign of disrespect. It had nothing, slapping somebody on the face had nothing to do with assault or attack. It had everything to do with disrespecting them. So Jesus was saying, look, if somebody disrespects you, you need to humble yourself. And if they slapped you on the right cheek, you give them the other cheek. Let them slap you on the other cheek. Had nothing to do with somebody assaulting you or attacking you. It had nothing to do with a crackhead trying to steal something out of your house. Had nothing to. It says, look, if a brother sues you to law, if they want you to go 1 mile, go with them twain. What does that have to do with assault? It has nothing. It's totally in context. Sermon on the Mount has nothing to do with personal protection. Look, Sermon on the Mount. If it's about somebody striking you on the cheek, what is that? That's an assault, right? So by your interpretation, what you're saying is you're not allowed to defend yourself in any way. And that's totally unbiblical. You know, David was a man after God's own heart. David was a bloody man, a man of war. He teaches my hands to war and my fingers to fight, right? Abishai, all of David's mighty men, they all fight, they kill. David killed the Philistine with a rock. You know, that sling is an absolute prototype of today's gun, right? The gun shoots the little piece of lead, the sling shot the rock. Killed Goliath. God is not schizophrenic. God did not change. Jesus did not change. They are the same yesterday, today, forever. Jesus said, by a sword. Why? To protect yourself. Look, when Peter cut off Malchus's ear, right? Because Jesus said, hey, if my kingdom was of this world, my children would fight. Right? What? Fight to make him current, present day king. Right? He wasn't born to be king now. He was born to die, to raise again, to rule and reign at a future date and time. Now, he rules and reigns in our hearts now if you've repented and believed the gospel and born again. But he is going to rule and reign again with a rod of iron. The wrath of the Lamb is coming to rule and reign with a rod of iron. Okay? But the Sermon on the Mount has nothing to do with letting somebody kill you. And it has everything to do with we shouldn't sue a brother at law. And we should help people. And we should go the extra mile. We should do all these things. But we cannot corrupt and pervert that to mean that we should let people kill us, slaughter us, rape our wives, kill our children, rape our children. That is nuts. And if you think that, I pray for your family. And I pray that they pack up all their stuff and they move to a safe place where somebody is willing to protect them. Because if you're a man, that's your responsibility. Doth not nature itself teach us? Beware, mama bear. Why in the world would a mother bear protect her cubs to the death, right? You take a baby pig from a sow, right? From a mama pig. Watch what happens. What? So you're telling me the God that created that bear, the God that created that pig, you're telling me that that's a different God that created us? They instinctively know to protect their offspring. And we don't know it because we want to take one Bible verse out of context. I mean, that is intellectually dishonest. That is incredible. When we have all the case law in the scripture and we have all the theocratic law from the nation of Israel. We're not the nation of Israel, you know, okay. There are no more theocracies until the millennial reign. But you are supposed to provide, and you the premise of not killing and not committing murder has to be to preserve life. And think about it. God gave you life. Personally, He gave you life. He gave your children life. He gave your wife or your family life. You don't appreciate that life enough to preserve it by any means necessary. I did not get to see It's Just War, but I vocalized I do not believe in modern day war. It's a money machine for a technocratic oligarchy. It's all about oil and opium, right? And I don't believe we should do it. And I believe it's unconstitutional. I believe it's evil. I believe it's wicked. And it's terrible. And it shouldn't be. And it has nothing to do with assault weapons. It has nothing to do with personal defense. It has nothing to do with me owning a Taver and an AR-15 and plenty of ammunition and Glocks and Smith and Wessons and 38 specials and all that stuff. It has nothing to do with that. It's a conflation. It's a bait and switch. It's a straw man. I am not talking about war. And honestly, the Second Amendment is there for we the people as a militia to go to war against a tyrannical government that has usurped its authority and blasphemes God for abusing the power that they've been giving to, what's the Bible say about the poor and the fatherless and the widow? And all our government does is rape people, financially rape people, and it gives it to the whatever. It gives it to the dregs humanity people that need it, and I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for that, and there are people that need it. And I pay my taxes. But the government steals. Look, the federal income tax is non-apportioned, completely unconstitutional. I pay my federal income tax. I pay it. Render unto Caesar. Because why? Because I don't want to go into jail for being a tax protester. It's not worth it to me. Why? Because I want to be able to defend and fight and enjoy and live with my family. And you do have to prioritize when it comes to, personal rights, property rights. And, sometimes the best offense is to flee. Everybody, too many movies, man, too many movies. Everybody thinks somebody with a gun's like Dirty Harry, go ahead, make my day. Oh yeah, punk, you're going to pull out a 357 and shoot him in the face. It's not going to happen. It doesn't happen in real life, folks. That happens in make-believe Hollywood and all their vigilante movies that are completely and totally immoral and ungodly. All their vigilante movies. We've all been so molested as a people in America that we always root for these vigilantes. They're completely lawless and godless, and we want to root for that vigilante when 99% of the time what they're doing is wrong. And it's all because of the programming. It's because they want to program us. They want to program us to be lawless. Why? Because they're lawless. They do not adhere to any laws. They make their own rules. They print the money. They spend the money at breakneck speed. $1.5 trillion deficit, people. A projected $5 trillion annual deficit. You can cut all the taxes you want. If you don't cut the spending, it's a $5 trillion deficit. And you are not going to increase the revenue, not even close, right? And then what do? You executive order, you kill the mandate for Obamacare, but you don't do anything with Obamacare. So subscriptions go down, so premiums skyrocket, so you collapse the system. They want to collapse the system. Republicans, Democrats, they're all in bed together. They want to take your guns. The Republicans, look, if what's-his-face what's his name, governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, right? If he flip-flops on this gun deal, look, no integrity. The only reason he would flip-flop is to stuff his own pockets, right? Okay, so you're one term. Good. You stood on principles. You're a man of integrity. You're a man of what you said you were. You believe. You weren't Donald Trump. Oh, we're going to stop Planned Parenthood and then fully fund it. And then talk about bump stocks and you're going to do something with bump stocks. That guy is the biggest flaming fake. He's as fake as his fake hair color and his fake hair, and he is fake. And he's going to flip-flop on us. And a Republican supermajority is going to take our guns way quicker than Hillary and a bunch of crazy socialists and Bernie Sanders. They are going because everybody's rocked to sleep. And a super Republican majority is going to destroy the vestiges of the Constitution, just like Brother Bush did. Old Georgie Bush destroyed the Constitution with the Patriot Act, and it's why we're in. Obama rode the beast that George Bush built, and now Trump's just going to double down. He's going to double down. China was bad. China manipulated currency. Oh, China's great. Oh, UN's bad. Oh, we're going to defund the UN. Oh, UN's great. Everything's cool. Oh, it's really just Assad and Assyria. He supposedly didn't gas his own people twice when the CIA did it the first time, but now he really did it. But he didn't do it the first two times when it was that bad Obama just trying to pick a fight overseas. Cut me a break, people. Cut me a break. It is wild, man. It's wild. And it's the same thing with this gun argument. It's the same thing. And look, people, Hitler took the guns. It wasn't that long ago. And here's what's funny. Hitler survived. They shipped him to Argentina. Operation Paperclip. They brought all the Nazi Mengele, all those evil, wicked dudes that were doing all these disgusting genetic tests on people and did all that crazy stuff. They brought them here, Werner von Braun, right? And they put them in seats in every university and let them keep doing their stuff. We didn't stop the Nazis. IG Farben, Bayer, Monsanto. They're getting the band back together. It's all coming back together. Crony capitalism, fascism, and if the fascists don't get it done, we'll flip-flop to the Bernie Sanders socialists and they'll finish us off. And it's coming. And that's why you need a gun, to protect and defend yourself, to protect and defend your family, to protect and defend your property, to protect and defend your animals, to protect and defend your infrastructure. Assault, who wordsmiths, man. Assault rifle. Assault rifles didn't exist 30 years ago. Was there AR-15s 30 years ago? Yeah. Was there AK-47s 30 years ago? Yeah. Was there bazookas? Were there machine guns? Were there Gatling guns? Were there rocket launchers? Yeah. There wasn't an assault nothing. Just like Ground Zero. There wasn't a Ground Zero. Ground Zero was always the term of a nuclear explosion. So go figure that one out. And why. Yeah, well, that's a whole different story. But that was our government. And if our government would kill 3,000 people and demolish World Trade Center 7 along with the Twin Towers, there's a very good reason that you should at least own a firearm. Dude, you think you can stop the government with an AR-15? It ain't going to happen. Unfortunately, it's not going to happen. If you had a belt-fed e-gun, it's not going to happen. I just want to live in peace. And I want to live in peace with my family. I want to be able to protect them. I want to be able to preserve them. I want to be able to preserve my life. I want to be able to protect and preserve my neighbor's life. Protect and preserve my neighbor's animals. Protect and preserve my neighbor's children, because I love life. I appreciate life. And the opposite of thou shalt not kill is thou shalt preserve life. if you don't care enough for life, it's just like this. Oh, well, God will do it. So instead of fighting, I'll pray. Okay, don't go to work then. Don't go to work. Just pray. Just pray that all your needs will be met. And if you're Christian enough, and if you're good enough, and if you're strong enough, and if you just pray harder, it's just like voting harder. You know? It's like, well, I'll vote harder next time, and that'll change the government. I'll vote harder. It's just like praying harder so that you don't have to work, right? If a man doesn't work, neither shall he eat. And it's the same argument. And so I don't know. Oh, Gatling here. Awesome, man. Is there such a thing as a just war? I don't know. Ask God. God fought a lot of wars. Were they just? God slaughtered the Canaanites, the Amalekites, the Philistines. Were any of those wars just? I believe that there are just wars. Have we seen one? I don't believe we've seen a just war. I believe every war, and in most aspects, including the Civil War, were all completely and totally unjust. And why was the Civil War fought? Because the North wanted all the tax dollars from the South. Had nothing to do with slavery. Lincoln wrote his own 13th Amendment to keep slaves before the war even ended. And Lincoln said himself, yo, if you want to keep your slaves, if I can end this war, that's great. Let's do it. Yeah, Civil War had nothing to do with slavery. More revisionist history, propaganda, nonsense, stupidness. Nothing to do with slavery. Everything to do with revenue. Everything to do with revenue. Read what the Union soldiers did to the Southern people and the plantations and the wives and the stuff. Read that guy, man. I forget the book. And they cut off his kids' heads and stuck them on poles and put them out in front of his homestead. Man, for real. Yeah. Civil War. Right? What do they want in America now? Civil War. Pumping all the Muslim refugees, right? And wind up like London. Guess what? London don't have no guns. The cops, the bobbies in London have billy clubs. Look at the statistics. Look at the statistics. Mass slaughter. Muslims running the show. Muslim mayor. It happens, and you can't just watch it happen and then say that won't happen here in fairy America land because we all getting raptured out anyway. Abracadabra. We're not appointed to wrath, so we going anyway. Take all the guns because we getting raptured out. And that's why, I mean, come on, man. Ain't getting raptured. Rapture the wicked. The tares are going to get separated from the wheat. Yep. Yeah, the Civil War was an atrocity. It's the greatest atrocity on American soil. And it was, I mean, just study the Civil War. And it was about revenue. The North wanted the South's money. Period. And now, what happened? They formed a more perfect union. It was never about America and 50 states, one nation under God. It was never about that. It was always about states' rights, always trumped national rights, always. But if you want a fiat national currency that's prolific around the world, you need a more perfect union, right? Because look at states. Look at these states that are failing. They're being carried by states like Texas and productive states, right? They have crashing economies, crashing pension systems, these bloated teachers unions, right? Project Veritas is releasing all this stuff about these wicked devil-possessed teachers unions that are just, mafia hitmen that got new legit jobs as NEA, mob boss, whatever, to protect public school teachers so that they can molest children and make $100,000 a year and get a full pension while they molest children and abuse children on our tax dollar while they charge us 55% of our property tax, and we don't even send our children to their public propaganda sodomite fest, inappropriate androgyny. Just, hey, Texas mom.
Hi.
You got here just in time.
Was it a commercial break?
It was a commercial break. Okay, let us know, Texas mom.
What?
What?
When I left, you were talking about the 10 Commandments. Now, what happened?
You left.
I had a chocolate shake.
Oh, that looks awesome.
Had to change a diaper and make myself a chocolate shake.
Yes, the Civil War was fought for states' rights, and we created a more perfect union by abolishing and destroying states' rights. And it's why Texas will never be able to secede.
Nope, they tried it before, didn't work. So, I don't know what you covered, but I was just thinking.
I didn't really talk about anything.
I heard public school somehow. So I was just thinking about
public school. Good point. Okay, continue, Texas mom. I don't want to interrupt your thought. Been accused of interrupting you.
I never interrupt him. What was I was thinking about like at the founding of the country and stuff, how men, like, it was just common practice that they were actually required to carry a firearm.
There were towns.
When they came to church.
You were required to bring a loaded firearm to church. You were required, or they would fine you.
Right.
There were towns you were required to have firearms in. They would give you one when you entered the town, because whose responsibility is it to defend and protect yourself and your family?
Right.
It's yours. It's not the thin blue line. It's not back the blue.
No.
And they're good cops. But you know what?
Wonderful cops.
There's a lot of terrible cops.
Sure. Yeah.
There's a lot of terrible military.
Sure.
There's a lot of great military.
And even the best of the best, they're still human beings, and they cannot be always at your door in 5 minutes.
They cannot always be there, and they may not be that great of a person when they get there.
Right? They may or may not.
And so we just had this school shooting in Santa Fe, and now they're saying these public schools have way too many entrances. You thought they looked like a prison camp before? You wait till we redesign all these schools with one entrance and a huge wall around them and all these video cameras and body scanners. And when we do that, everyone will be safe. And it'll be warm and fuzzy, and we'll pad the inside so we don't have to put them on straitjackets while we feed them our queer propaganda so that they know that they can choose their gender at any age.
Right. And we'll put a nice little character phrase up on the outside board or whatever.
Yeah.
You cannot teach character outside of the Bible. It doesn't work. It never has worked. You have to have some type of foundation, or else it's just everybody's opinion.
We got a new KBN 45 Gen, and he feels that he feels a kinship.
Are we really? Or are you separated at work, maybe?
But okay, this other thing that they will do with the public schools. They're going to make them look more like prisons. They already totally look like prisons. They're going to make them look more like prisons. What's that going to do? It's going to cost an insane amount of money, and that's going to collapse. Personal wealth. It's federal income tax isn't bad enough. State sales tax isn't bad enough. What do we have to do? The only real thing people own almost is their property, their real estate, right? There's real value in real estate. How do you destroy that? Property tax. How do you raise property tax? You build bigger, dumber, stupider schools that work worse and worse, and then you turn them into some kind of crazy concentration camp with one door and body scanners and video cameras.
So scary. I would not feel comfortable being a kid.
The question is never, why is the question, It's never why. The question should be, why are there public schools? That's the question. Nobody ever asks that question. Why doesn't anybody say, oh, why are these mass shootings? Oh, we need to fix public schools. You know how you fix public schools? Abolish public schools.
And that will never happen.
You bet it'll never happen because it's the $1 trillion cow,
Yep.
and even all these good local municipalities,
Yep.
they're all on the federal teat.
Yep.
They all get the grants. You know, if you don't spend the grant, you won't get it again next year. It's predicated on wasteful spending.
What was that really good documentary that we watched?
Yes, the one about school systems.
About the school systems. It's on
I
Netflix,
forget. It's
I
on
think.
Netflix, and it was about how and they picked the Northeast and how those teachers were ridiculously overpaid.
Pension.
The average salary of a school teacher is 6 figures, and their pension 6 figures.
And they can't get fired.
They are the worst performing school districts.
And they cannot get fired. But it was something about like the victimization of the children. It was like somehow, I can't remember the title of the documentary.
Indoctrination. Everybody keeps saying it.
Oh, okay. Yes.
I'm like, you're right, it's indoctrination. And then I didn't tell you.
It was so sad because it really, that was years ago we watched that. And it is so true. They are using children as a ploy for a money game. That's all it is.
It's all
a money game.
Look at these Project Veritas videos James O'Keefe's been putting out. And he did it all around the country, all at the same time. I give the guys mad props. They're stinking legit. You know, the thing that I don't give him props about, he's like, let's see the reform when we can create. We just need to vote harder and reform. And yeah, it's not going to happen. I'm sorry. You know what you got to do? You got to cut the root to kill the fruit. You got to turn off the spigot. What's the root? Money. The love of money. Follow the money. Follow the money. How do you stop it? You got to stop the money. The only thing that'll stop it is stop the money. You ain't stopping the money. You ain't stopping the money. You know what happens to people that try to stop the money? They die. They suicide themselves in the back of the head with 2 bullets on a gun that they shouldn't be allowed to own.
This is like no other live stream ever on YouTube. Well, this is like no other homesteading live stream ever.
Yeah, Katy High School near Houston spent $12 million on a high school football stadium, and there's one out by Dallas that spent $60 million on a high school football stadium last year.
Well, it's all for the sake of the kids. And, you know, there are good people involved in it, just like everything, just like everywhere. There are some good people involved, but overall, it's a money laundering scheme.
It's all money game.
And they use the kids.
And it's a money scheme with unsupportable pensions to collapse the system. Every public pension is completely unsustainable. Totally on the face, every projection, every potential possible scheme, and in every conceivable way, every public pension is completely unsustainable. And yet, people think like, oh yeah, I'm going to get the money forever, and this is great. And I can work till I'm 40, and I can retire and get a 80 or 100% pension and get all my health care. Are you crazy? They're going to collapse Obamacare. They're going to do it.
Right.
Because that's what they want.
But
that's why the Republicans passed Obamacare. And that's why the Republicans killed the mandate to collapse the system. It's the same bird, people. It's the same bird. It's the same bird.
Rocky Brook likes our live streams.
I like Rocky Brook.
Yeah, so I don't know if you touch on...
Netflix is giving Obama a movie deal. I don't doubt that. What should I touch on?
What should you touch on? I'm trying to think. I was just talking about, you know, the founding of the country, that people were required to carry their guns because they understood their rights, and they understood that they were protecting themselves, and
And that weapon was a weapon of war. It was
sure,
every American citizen had the most sophisticated weapon
that they could
available to
afford.
them.
Sure, sure.
The most sophisticated. We, that right that should not be infringed, we should be constitutionally a God-given right. It wasn't, that right was not given to us by a piece of paper. Do you get that?
We've been lulled to sleep.
That mama bear that has those talons, right? That mama tiger or cougar that protects her cubs with those talons, given those talons by God, what? To protect herself, to protect her kids, protect her family.
Yeah.
It's innate.
And I was faced with it down here, and I know some other people have had some challenges too just recently with different homesteading channels. You move out into the country, and I don't care, even if you're in a development, you might be faced with some challenges, but definitely moving outskirts of town, it takes longer for the police to
Yeah,
get
life
to
goes
you.
north. Up in Alaska, man, they got these creepos creeping around and stealing stuff.
Yeah.
I will tell you what. I'd be like, listen, guys, don't come back. Now, if you come back, look, I'm gonna be nice.
Sure.
If you come back, you can just pick your spot. Here, I'll give you a flag. You plant the spot where you want me to plant you, and you come back, and I'll make all your dreams come true.
Right. Yeah, you just can't have people just, and we're not going to shoot people over stuff, but on the same hand, when they're on your property, you have to assume that they are armed, and they, you know, might not have the best intentions for you and your family. That's just, you have to be careful. So, yeah, I didn't have a gun or know how to operate a gun up until we moved down here, and I got quickly very motivated.
Yes, somebody
Within a
with
matter
bad
of
intentions came to our door. We were in this house a day?
yeah, one night,
Yeah.
and he went to
And
work.
I was at work, and our power was out, and somebody came here, and whether they were on crack
I don't know.
or whatever their motivation
it wasn't
was.
one person that came here.
No.
It was, yeah, and it was very scary, and within a matter of minutes I realized that I was totally vulnerable, and yeah, it wasn't good, and I couldn't protect my children, so it was really, really scary. And the Lord worked it out and protected us, praise the Lord. But from that moment on, I was highly motivated that I needed to have a firearm and know how to use it and know where it was, and know how to protect my family if that situation happened again. And that situation has happened a couple times again, different people, but
And the peace of mind that I have that I can go to work and my wife has multiple guns that she can get to that the children can't. Obviously, we're not retarded.
No.
Okay.
Oh my.
And that didn't say that to be offensive or anything. I realize people have challenges, but we're not stupid
No.
about stuff.
No,
I
we're
mean,
responsible.
yeah, we're
Educated
responsible.
the
I
way
mean,
you do things. Yeah, you don't.
Yeah.
We don't want any accidents happening.
Most of the school shootings are totally fictitious. I mean, absolutely, Sandy Hook was completely fake. It didn't happen. It didn't happen. And yeah, and we're teaching the boys, and but yeah, it Texas mom found gun religion.
Yeah.
When the old crummy dirty dude was trying to kick the front door in.
And thankfully, our friend got here. It took the police 20 minutes to get here, which is no slight on them.
No. We in the country.
It's just where we are, and that's how long it takes. And I told him that there were children here too, to think that that would hurry it up, but it still takes what it takes. And by the time the police got here, the people were gone, and our friend got here in about less than 10 minutes, and he was he was ready, and
he was ready, and he's got legit stuff in his truck,
and he
like multiple legit things.
He took off trying to find them, but he never found them. So, you know, things can happen in a matter of minutes, and it, you know, we still trust the Lord, but I have a responsibility to my family and my
I
kids.
trust the Lord for the fruit on my fruit trees. I'm not going to not water them.
Right.
I'm not going to not fertilize them. I'm not going to not care for them.
Mm-hmm.
So I can say I trust the Lord with my wife's life, but I'm not going to not care for her.
Right.
I mean, it's foolish. It's anti-logical. It's not. It's void of all logic.
And when we lived up north, I mean, you know, things would happen all the time, and crazy things would happen
all the time.
And you know, you would be sitting in church.
After we moved, within 12 months, multiple people were shot at the mall parking lot, 2.5 miles from our house.
Yeah. And you know, we would be sitting there in church, and I'm just thinking, okay, nobody here has a gun, and a bad guy's gonna have a gun. And if he walks in the church, like, we are sitting ducks.
Yeah.
Literally, we're sitting ducks. Like, this is stupid. That's not, yeah, we're supposed to be harmless,
right.
But we're supposed to be wise, too. I mean,
right.
How can we protect our children that are here with us, or our family or friends, if we're all sitting here with no protection? It's foolish. And, you know, I'm trying to think of that Bible verse that says, like, the children of the world have more wisdom than
the children of light.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
and in context, that's referring to money, and that's true.
Right. So, I mean, we have to be wise.
Yeah, Sandy Hook did not happen. Sandy Hook was condemned, a condemned school, and right before the event happened, 4 schools were consolidated in a school building that was already condemned. And this atrocity happened, and the school was immediately demolished. And this town, Newtown, Connecticut, aggrandized itself to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars. And their new school looks like a super awesome penitentiary. And it's all super cool looking. And it's crazy. And all you need to do is Wolfgang. All you need to do is listen to this guy Wolfgang. He was a security guy for school systems, and he was watching the whole Sandy Hook thing happen. And he was like, they violated like every protocol for any type of tragic event. They broke every single rule. And that's when he started investigating it, because he said that whole thing looks like a fake mess because they didn't follow one rule of engagement on the whole entire thing. And he's went up there and he's filed court documents and he's got all the facts. Wolfgang Helbig. That guy's name is Wolfgang Helbig.
Yeah, we watched a lot on it because that was pretty close, Sandy Hook. And we had family that had friends involved there too, so... Yeah.
Thanks, Thanks for hanging out. Appreciate the help. Yeah. And I appreciate Eric being on. What's up, Eric? No fig talk tonight, Eric. Yo, I got figs on the tree. Figs on the tree.
So, yeah. I don't know. I think it comes down to responsibility. And obviously, we're Christians, so we're going to be long-suffering with people.
Totally.
We're going to give. I mean, if somebody is in need of something... and comes here to rob us or steal us because they need something, by all means we're going to give that to them.
Hey, there's a guy in the neighborhood, if you want to call us a neighborhood, and he's come by several times, and he is a shady looking cat. Shady, and he's always drunk. Always drunk. And he's a shady cat, and
he'll just be
and this was before I had the fence and the gates.
Yeah.
And I didn't put the fence and the gates up because of him.
No.
But
most people have
with the dogs, yeah. Most people have fences and gates, and we need to keep the dogs in. So but he would always be up in our yard and always asking for gas,
And we would give it to him.
and yeah, and I'd give it to him, man.
You know, if somebody's in need, you give it to them.
Yeah, and you might be a drunk.
You know, you don't shoot somebody because
No.
they're in need of something.
No, but I'll tell you this too. He came knocking on our door, and I'll tell you exactly what I told Texas Mom to do. I said the next time he does that, you come to the door with your gun at your side, not in any type of threatening way. It's your house. You know what? And it worked. Like, oh, hey, can I help you? Oh, I didn't know. You know.
Well, people meet you at the door with a gun all the time.
Yeah, all the time. Dude, down here, I'm going to houses daily. There are loaded weapons in people's houses. There's loaded weapons by
everywhere.
People's windows and stuff. They're smart.
Well,
and guess what?
They don't have children.
I've never been shot. In 4 years, I've been in thousands of homes, and I haven't been shot once. I haven't been grazed. I've never even heard, well, I've been on the south side of town, and God bless those people.
Oh, my.
10 o'clock in the morning, south side of town.
That's how my husband answers the door. Well, you know, that is the wise way. You know, you go to help somebody if they need help with something outside, but you have to.
Texas Mom has
careful.
a single stack SIG that's super sweet, 9mm, and it's just for her petite little hands, and it's sweet.
My mom always give him heck about it. Huh, I don't know. Where do you live, Colleen? Yeah, I mean,
hey, Brenda
when you
Smiley.
have kids, you have to be very,
Got to be
very
really
wise.
smart about it.
Yeah, you can't be foolish and you know, willy-nilly about it. But
oh, the SIG, yeah, I believe it's a 938. I really like guns, but I'm not like a gun nerd, and I can't, you know. I got a Glock and a Smith & Wesson and a yeah, I have an M&P. That's a really good gun. My mom and dad had 6 children. And I got a Tabor, and I got a SKS, and let's see. Yes, you absolutely have to teach your kids. I grew up in the communist North, and my dad.
He went hunting.
Yeah, and always taught me to respect guns, man. That you treat that thing like it's loaded all the time.
Yeah.
You never pointed at anything that you don't want to kill.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yes, our kids know about guns and know how to use guns.
And they know not to ever
and those
touch.
that are age appropriate
right.
get to shoot them, and those that Junior does not go shooting with us. Okay.
No. And they know even Goob, he knows to never ever touch a gun.
Yeah.
He will never.
Yeah, not with me around. You don't do it.
None of they're not loaded anyway. But he would, and they're put up anyway.
Yeah.
Where they can't get them. But yeah, he knows to never touch a gun. None of them would ever. I was raised the same way, that my dad and my stepdad both had guns and hunted.
Your grandfather had loaded guns everywhere, in every room.
He was the exception to the
every
rule.
drawer.
Right, that was different. He didn't hunt, but we grew up very, very respectful of you knew not to, but you know.
We started teaching our kids about guns when we got to Texas.
Yes.
I was here 6 months where I could get my conceal. A concealed carry permit is totally unconstitutional, but I'm not going to carry around a pocket constitution and say it's because I'm going to carry all the time, and I'm going to conceal carry, and I'll play by their rules as long as they let me play. You know, a concealed carry permit is a total usurpation of the Constitution. Completely unlawful.
Right.
Grotesque.
But we have to choose and pick our battles.
Yeah, you pick your fights. You pick your spots.
Yeah.
You pick your battles. And you're smart as you think you need to be about stuff.
Yeah, you better know your guns. Eric knows.
See, there is a gun culture in Texas.
There is.
They're not spooky. They're not assault weapons.
No.
They're a tool that you use.
I mean, well, I should say everybody, but most people have a gun on them. And when our neighbors are out with a longhorn, they have a gun with them. And sometimes they have to use it, if there's coyotes around or wild dogs around. It's just part of
Hey, I'm not a
ranch.
sovereign citizen. Yeah. Because the sovereign citizen movement, I respect it. I appreciate what they're attempting to do. But like again, it's the same thing with investing. If you don't obviously look at it at a Christian perspective, but you also have to look at it from a biblical period perspective and where I truly, honestly believe we are in accordance with prophecy. And, we're not, America, okay, I do believe that America is the beast system. Clear to me. The hinders most of the nations that's going to rise up, right, against the Middle East and against not the current nation state of Israel. It's a de facto political nation state, okay? I'm not against Jews. I'm not against Israel. And the Jews and Israel have just as much rights as the Palestinians. I'm not picking a side in that deal either. But the current Jewish state is not a miracle by God fulfillment of biblical prophecy of restoration because the borders are totally wrong, people. They're not biblical borders. God didn't restore Israel yet. It's coming. And it might be coming soon to a theater near you called Life. Yes, Carl, you're absolutely right. I referenced that verse earlier.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. And you were talking about self-defense, examples of self-defense in the Bible earlier too.
yeah.
Where we have to defend ourselves. This idea, people ask us all the time about non-resistance and what's the other word? Pacifism.
Pacifism. Yes.
And no.
It's just not a biblical concept. I mean, because the concept is the God of the Old Testament was this angry dude and he killed everybody except certain people. And then the God of this New Testament, he sent his son, and God is love and Jesus is love. We all just need to love each other, and love wins, and love is love. And it's the sodomite agenda, people. It's the sodomite God.
Now we are supposed to be peacemakers, and we are
Of
supposed
course.
to pray for
Live peaceably with all men.
Yes, as much as possible.
As much as lieth within you, live peaceably with all men. That's what I want. Leave me alone. Look, leave me alone.
Sure.
I will give you no problems. I'll pay my property taxes. I'll pay my state and federal taxes. I'll pay all my taxes.
But when the
leave me alone.
When our creepy neighbor guy comes around and begs for gas or whatever, we live peaceably with all men. We give him, if we have it to give.
Yeah, if I have it to give, I give it to him. I'm not going to let him. And
not out in the front yard shooting at people.
Right, and he is taking advantage of me.
Sure.
And that is what the Sermon on the Mount is talking about. Hey, look, you praise the Lord, you got it to give, man, give it. Mm-hmm. Like, big deal. It's 5 gallons worth of gas, And he's a drunk, and he don't work for it, and whatever. But you know what? I'm going to give it to him.
Right. He's not here to hurt us.
And maybe when he's sober, I'll get the opportunity to talk to him. Mm-hmm. But, until then, I'm going to... Yeah, Jesus defines what thou shalt kill means in the New Testament. He says, thou shalt commit no murder. The Bible always defines itself. So, you really don't have to study the Koine Greek, which is dead, and the ancient Hebrew, which is dead. The Bible will define itself. You just have to continue to work through the Bible. And, Jesus clearly defined what thou shalt kill means, and it's thou shalt commit no murder. Yeah.
Get off my lawn.
What's that?
It just says, get off my lawn. Oh, boy.
But I don't know if anybody has any questions. I just think this was good. I'm glad we got to do it. Mm-hmm. I just want to talk investing again. So if anybody has... Because it's coming, people. It's telling you, when the Fed's moving the rate, when you look at all the teacups and the candlesticks and the charts... It's not good. Now look, it might It might be 1,000 years from now. I don't know. But statistically and fundamentally, I don't know how they've done it this long. I don't know how. Unemployment, all of it. It's coming, people, and it's got to come when the Fed. They're waiting to crash it because they can, just like
Well,
they can keep it up. So
the one thing we know about history.
yeah, invest in the fig 401k. Right on, brother. Right on. Got some more fig trees coming next week.
Where do you think we are biblically?
Biblically, I believe we've been in the end times since Jesus went back to heaven. I believe that the apostles were in the end times, but I believe we are clearly, there's lots of references to countries in the Bible. There's no reference to America, but I do believe that hinders most of the nations is America. It's the greatest geopolitical power. It's the greatest military power. Does it look like our military is shrinking? Not. It's getting bigger. And now our embassy's in Jerusalem. And peace, peace when there is no peace. Look, Korea. Oh, everything's great now. Korea. Now all we have to do is get rid of Assad. Peace, peace when there is no peace.
I was thinking of that song. I thought you were going to... I thought you were...
What's that?
that you said we're living, surely living. I was like, oh, he's gonna...
Oh, yeah. Matthew 24. We are living, surely living in the days you read about.
All those things you hear are happening every day.
Yep.
I'm horrible at singing.
That was a good one, Mom.
Oh, my.
So, yeah,
all those things you read are happening every day.
Yeah,
That's
Matthew 24. It's coming.
Yeah.
The great fall. We're watching the great falling away. We're watching people that understood biblical positions evaporate.
Yeah.
Evaporate.
Yeah.
And get blown about, tossed about with every wind of doctrine, every old repackaged heresy that comes around the block. Flip flop, boom pow. Well, you can't say Jesus, Lord Jesus Christ. You got to say Yahushua or Shua, Shahuashashia, Shashua, Shatacha, and all this stuff. And it's just, woo.
You false peace when the Antichrist comes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm not saying Trump's the Antichrist. I'm not even saying the office of the U.S. president will be the Antichrist, but there's a lot. The Antichrist is going to be a rich dude. And I don't think it's Trump. I mean, it could be Trump. But
you didn't think it was Obama either, right?
No, I didn't think it was with Obama. I didn't think it was Obama.
I'm teasing. I know people were saying
yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. All that Yeshua stuff is just more Kabbalism and Babylonian mystery religion. You got to say Jesus' name right for it to work. It's just man-made stuff to control people.
Yep.
So we're it's coming. It is the book of Revelation. There's a lot of people that think we're actually in the judgments now. I don't think so. I do probably think that the different judgments are going to happen simultaneously. The bowls and the vials and the trumpet. I think they're going to happen at the same. I don't think they're concurrent. I think they happen simultaneously, and I think the last trump is when the Christians get raptured out, because that's what it says at the last trump, and there's 7 trumpets. Wow, that's weird coincidence. And there's going to be a last trump, huh? Yeah. So I mean, it all lines up. It's pretty.
Did we keep you entertained? Old-fashioned country life.
Old-fashioned country life. Yeah. We appreciate y'all, and I don't know if anybody's got any questions, but if not, we'll wrap it up.
Yep, and that's.
Do you have any questions, Texas Mom?
No, I don't think so.
No questions.
No. There are different kinds of trumpets.
Oh.
Yep, Carl. Thank you. Thanks, Carl. You were
Thanks, Birdie.
adding.
Not all trumpets are the same. Oh. Noah's Ark, are you pre-trib? Just curious. How much longer till Newton's here?
We got 3 weeks, but I always go over. All my babies have been over.
What are you drinking, Texas Mom?
A chocolate shake. It's really bad. It's like dessert.
We have a homeschool video that's done. Is it edited?
Yes. No, it's not edited. We did a homeschool video today. We're off topic. Homeschool area supplies in any video. I've done a couple homeschool videos. You can just probably look that up on our channel. And I think they're probably under a playlist. If not, I need to get that organized and put them under a playlist. Our homeschool always changes and adapts to our life. But we just did another homeschool video today that was probably like the most technical video we've ever done, because it was something that we were asked to do by a program that we use, teaching textbooks. It's what we've used for math for several years now. Excellent program. We love it. We've used several different things, and we just love teaching textbooks for lots of reasons, and you'll know all of them. And hopefully in a couple days we have to put the video together. Well, not we. Goob has to edit the video and put it all together, and then we have to send it off to teaching textbooks, and when they give us the thumbs up, we can release that video. So that should be a lot of fun.
There is a connection with what's going on in Israel. And all the Christian Zionist stuff is crazy. All the John Hagee, like all that stuff. Look, when all these devils, the principalities, power of spiritual wickedness in high places, look, all the quote unquote Jews, right, are Democrats, right? But then why do all the Democrats and Obama and all this stuff supposedly hate Israel, right? And then you have the conservatives and you have Trump, this arch conservative, and we're going to put the embassy in Jerusalem. They're cut me a break, people. They're in the same bed together. And why are the Democrats not cool with being pro-Israel when 90% of quote unquote Jews are Democrat? 95% of Jews are Democrat. Come on, man. It's all, And the nation state is a political state. It's not a biblical state. It will be.
Yep, Rocky Brookie.
Yep, they lay together.
Yeah.
It's two wings of the same foul bird. They're on it together. Hey, man, the Mossad and Israel was all in on all the 9/11 stuff, totally. And I'm not one of these people that think that Israel's the boogeyman and they're behind everything bad and all that stuff and Jew bash and all that stuff. But, I mean, they're a state just like stinking United States is a state. You know what I mean? Illuminati confirm.
Eric. Oh, boy.
Oh, we should do that would be a great pre-trib, post-trib debate live. That'd be awesome.
Who are you going to debate?
Noah's Ark. Me and Noah's Ark. And,
are they pre-trib?
Yeah, Noah's Ark's pre-trib, and we can discuss how trumpets are different and how the last Trump's not the last Trump, but it's it's a Trump. I've heard it all, man. I know all the. I used to be super hardcore pre-trib. I learned pre-trib in cemetery, and hopefully most of what I learned in cemetery dies in cemetery. But
oh boy.
What? All right. Did we miss anything? I don't know what. Oh, pre-trips. Yeah, pre-tribulational rapture. Yeah, seminary. Some people call cemetery seminary. I went to cemetery. Yeah, seminary. Yeah. Didn't the Don contribute to the Dems before? Of course he did. Of course, Don's flip-flopped many times. Dude, Don's like posing with Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson, dude. His peoples. I mean, come on. Come on, man. You have a reality TV show host guy, the Fired, who made all his money from his dad's money, Silver Spoon Boy, Silver spoon. He's a self-made man. Silver spoon. Well, it only took me like 1 million, and I turned my first million into 1 billion. Who starts out with 1 million in the 70s or the 60s or whatever? You can cut me a break. I have no clue of any of that. I feel dumb. You're not dumb, dude. It's just. Hey, Ben Shapiro is smart, man. Ben Shapiro is smart. What made us go from pre-trib to post? Church history, biblical history, real history. We started studying church history, and that's how the scriptures were preserved throughout the ages. And when you study the Waldenses and the few writings that the Catholics didn't burn, they believed and preached that the present day Pope was the Antichrist because he is a type of Antichrist, and he was slaughtering Bible believing Christians by the tens of millions. And so we were going through some challenges in our own life. And then you're like, well, wait a minute. So God didn't preserve those Waldenses from tribulation. Mm-hmm. And now we have the most cream puff, milk toast, snowflake generation, most apostate generation, soft, godless, weak generation. And this generation gets the golden ticket, Willy Wonka ticket, to go to heaven and not die.
No, it just sells good. That's all. It just
it
sounds
and
good.
Tim LaHaye and all those guys and the movies, the Left Behind, the totally unbiblical Left Behind series, and the Pentecostal girl that had the vision, what's her name? And C.I. Schofield, who was a crook and he kited checks.
I want a ticket. Yeah. Who doesn't want that ticket? I mean, that sounds great. You know, you get salvation and you get out of all the bad stuff, you know.
And all I want is one verse that says that there's going to be a pre-tribulation rapture, because there isn't one. Because it says that day shall not come except there be a falling away first and the man of sin be revealed. Two very distinct. There was never an imminent rapture ever. Couldn't be, because of Paul and John. Paul knew what things he must suffer. John knew that he was going to live. They both knew that. It was prophesied to him. Those two men, John completed the book. Paul wrote half the New Testament. Neither of those guys would have ever preached an imminent return because they knew it would violate what was prophesied for them.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Talking about stuff going on in Ireland right now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yep. You just follow the money, you know.
Yep.
If there's a lot of money involved, like with the Catholic Church, there's a lot of money there.
What's like saying there won't be a one world money system? I don't understand.
No, but the Catholic Church is very tied in with politics.
Ian Paisley was a great warrior against the Catholic Church. The Pope, the Vicar of Hell. That's what Ian Paisley said.
Yeah, well, who was the other guy I was just talking about this week? Oh, my brain, I can't think here. Knox.
John Knox.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, I was just reading up a little bit on John Knox, and yeah, they're, you know.
The world is gonna be in turmoil and tribulation. Do I think I'm gonna be saving Texas? No.
You're not gonna escape tribulation. Nobody's gonna escape. Not even the bunker people. What are they called? The prepper.
Whatever that show was. That show.
The prepper show.
Yeah, the prepper show.
The ultimate preppers or whatever they're called.
And you prepare for life. Just like, should the people before the Great Depression, should they prepared for the Great Depression? Well, of course, and some people did. and they were fine.
Doomsday, yeah.
Doomsday prepper,
preppers,
that's
yeah.
it.
Yeah, you're not going to escape.
Nope. Guns aren't going to stop the Antichrist.
No,
You
the
know.
bunker with all the peanut butter crackers is
Right,
not
and
going to
that's what
help.
that's why it's important. You know, you have to keep everything in perspective. So that's keeping it in perspective. We know, hey, I know how the book ends. I know what's going to happen. You know, because we are not as children of the night. We're of the day, right? We will not be overtaken as children of the night, caught up in some secret rapture, right? Because we're children of the day. We know the times and the seasons. No man knoweth the day or the hour, but we know the times and the season, the great falling away, and the man of sin that'll be revealed, right?
What are us and our kids going to do? We're going to walk through whatever God has for us to walk through, and we're going to give him the glory through it. Just like they did in the past when tribulation has
and
come.
that's why I think that pre-trib, hey, we have lots of pre-trib friends, of course, and post-trib friends, but the reason it's important to know about it is so that you are spiritually prepared for it, and your kids are spiritually prepared for it. Say, hey, this ain't going to be like some cakewalk and then you're magically going to get sucked out before anything bad happens. It's not going to happen. You know, our forefathers and the Waldenses were slaughtered as an entire people. And slaughtered. I mean, why were they slaughtered? Why weren't they preserved from tribulation? Why were all the apostles martyred? Why weren't they saved from tribulation? They that live righteously in Christ shall suffer persecution. That sounds like tribulation. And I realize there is great tribulation that's 3.5 years. But the great tribulation is like a tribulation never seen. It was not, the Waldenses thought that that slaughter they were experiencing was great tribulation, and it was very great for them. And it was almost all of them. Why do so many people claim pre-trib? Because Hollywood made a movie about it. Because a bunch of Hollywood people wrote a bunch of books about it. Because it was in a bunch of... Hey, Junior. What you doing, Bob?
Can I come up?
Sure, you can come up. You want to say hi to everybody?
Yeah.
Yeah, come on up, man. Come here, booger. Oh, I don't want to hurt you. Climb. Oh. You want to say hi?
Yeah.
There you go, Junior.
Hi.
Hi. I don't know why so many. Why did I do it? I believed what I was being told. You know what I mean? Everybody says hi, Junior.
Hi.
Rico says hi, Junior. Left behind or led astray. Yeah, I've watched some Anderson stuff on that, and relatively speaking, it gets pretty interesting when you start studying all that stuff. With there are people that are not Christians that won't take the mark. I think it's in Joel, and it talks about those that went not up, right? Because there has to be non-saved people left over to fight in the battle of Armageddon. And, your Alex Jones types, they're going to be worldly wise people that aren't going to take the mark. I believe, anyway. And that's a whole awesome, great discussion and study. And
Can I get this phone out?
What you got? What's in there?
Phone.
Oh, you got your phone? There's your phone, Bobo. Eric says, what's up, Junior?
Thanks.
All right, y'all. Well, and nobody has any, but yeah, maybe we'll do like a pre-trib, post-trib. That'd be kind of cool. I've been.
Hi, Alex.
He said hi, Eric. I've been studying it for a long time. There's still a lot that I haven't figured out, and it's really very interesting stuff. That's well, there's lots of really great discussions about that. It's pretty deep. And Revelation 22, it said, the book of Revelation was written to the churches. So why was it written to the churches if there weren't supposed to be any churches there? But I don't think it's a possibility because it ignores clear scripture that, the scripture says that, there was a preacher movie called Thief in the Night. But the Bible says that we're not like a thief in the night. You know what I mean? That we're children of the day. And how did somebody take that verse? They literally called the movie Thief in the Night when the Bible clearly says that we're not of the night. We're of the day. So, yo, Daniel. Yeah, we were talking about the Second Amendment. And Miss Butterfly's coming in too. We got to go to bed. Miss Butterfly want to say hi? Up. All right, y'all. Miss Butterfly wants to say hi. She's going crazy over there. Oh, this. Okay. All right, y'all. Well, we're going to bounce tonight. We got to put these kiddos to bed. And no, you don't have to go to bed, Junior. You can stay up as late as you want, right, guys? Wink, wink. All right, y'all. We appreciate y'all. Appreciate Eric moderating for me. Good night, Alicia McNamara, Rick O'Grady, Daniel Flowers. Thanks for all the participation. Sheila Hudson, Bertie Inadell, Noah's Ark, Catherine Sloan, Amy Steptoe, Andy Fishburne, Rocky Brook, all my peoples. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for always supporting the channel, supporting the boys, watching the videos, giving all the thumbs up. Right, Junior? To be continued, as always. Lindsay Quincy, good evening. Good night, Yvonne Johnson. Anchors and Arrows, have a good night. We'll see y'all in the next video. Bye. You gonna say good night, Junior? Good night. Thanks, Kinda Heart. We'll see ya. Oh.